Hello, everyone. I am an author. As you can tell, I'm just starting my journey into publishing. I published my first book last year. Unfortunately, I've had to pull that book out of production for many reasons, which I would explain in this video. As you can tell, despite my lack of like subscribers or followers or anything like that, I felt that it was important for me to share this journey because I feel like a lot of indie authors go through this and they might feel they might feel self-conscious about sharing it, or they might feel like they're the only ones, because I felt like I was the only one, and it killed my self-esteem and it hurt like my confidence as an author. So I feel like if I share this with other people, then they might not feel as kind of alone as I did in this moment. I also just want to vent and rant, and the fact that possibly nobody will see this video and it will just be me gives me the confidence to do so. I'm also of the mentality of, if you build it, they will come. Or maybe I'm just a Lulu. Either way, it's gonna be a fun video of me talking to myself. So enjoy that if anybody ever watches it. If not, I'll enjoy the sound of my voice. No, I'm kidding. I hate the sound of my voice. Just editing this video is gonna be a bitch because I absolutely hate the sound of my voice. But anyways, as you can tell, I have no idea what I'm doing. So bear with me and enjoy the shit show. Okay. So let's first address the elephant in the room. So the visuals you are actually getting, it is me working on a bestiary for my historical fantasy series, just because I didn't have enough work and because writing a debut novel is not hard enough. I decided to add more work to my already mounting workload, because I'm just that person that when I get an idea, I just have to run with it. If I don't, it's gonna fester into like, it gives me anxiety. So I had to go with it. Am I gonna publish this as like a book? Maybe, possibly, hopefully. But let me know if you guys are interested in learning more about it and my idea for it, and like what I'm planning to do with it. And I'll be happy to make a video of that. Well, happy in a sense, happy for you guys to hear about it, but not happy like we already established. I don't like the sound of my voice, and I'm too introverted to really put myself out there, hence why I'm writing not under my name. But anyways, on with to what this video was supposed to be about, which is an explanation as to why I pulled my book and a lot of my social media material out of production, and I'm restarting from scratch. Maybe because I'm a perfectionist, but there's more to the story than that. So here is the explanation as to why, the explanation you don't care about or you never asked for. But, I need to build up my audience, so I have to do something. Shorts and reels will only get me so far. And quite frankly, they're not getting me far at all. So here we go. Anyways, you don't stop pouring the foundation to a house just because nobody's watching. So here I go. So I'll start with saying that there are no authors in my family. There's nobody that like follow their dreams and did something that was risky and had nothing to do with money or artistic pursuits. With that being said, I was the first one in my family that decided to do something that in my family would be considered like a risk or like a waste of time. I wanted to be an author because I love to write. I love to read. I'm a very big fan fiction lover. Because I come from that family, I never thought that I could do it. I never thought that I should do it. I was like, that's not for me. Those dreams, that big goals aren't for me. So I kind of left it there, and it's been there since, well, for most of my life. So to reiterate, I'm a millennial, so I'm in like my early 30s. All my life, I've done what was expected of me, of like going to college, getting a diploma, finding a job, etc., etc. With that being said, what I'm trying to lead up to is that I had a very small support group of people that were willing to like offer me support in this like venture that for most of them they thought would be like a dead end and a waste of money and time, which jokes on them, because when my book is in publishing, I made, drum roll please, $4. It's, let's not talk about how much I spent, but I made money. Like I made, it's money. It was money. So, you know, like, ha, jokes on you. Non-believers, yay. To explain it better, the only people that I had that I could really 100% count on were two people. So my mother and my brother. Besides them, for the most part, the support that I did have was very flaky, in the sense that I could like call them or email them or text them today, and I would hear back from them in a week with like a resounding yes, but then 2 months later I hear no word for them, and I'll follow up and they're like, yes, I'm getting to it, or I'm busy but I'll get to it, and then like it'll be a year and I've never heard from them again. So unless they needed something from me. So, and I like to say that I'm not throwing shade. I'm not trying to like anger anybody or throw shots or anything like that. This is not a video of me like ranting because I'm angry or trying to like shame anybody. But this is just my experience. And I know that life, especially in the last few years, has been crazy for all of us. And we all have a lot of things going on, and we're all overwhelmed with our own problems. If any shade, the only thing I'm trying to say is, don't give your word if you're unable to take it, if you have problems going on, and if last minute those problems come up, then just, it's fine to just say, hey, I know I said yes, but I can't anymore. That's perfectly fine and understandable. At least I will understand. I would prefer that, or I would prefer a no than you kind of putting yourself out there for something that you cannot do. But anyways, yeah, so this is not a shade throwing video. This is just talking about my experience and my personal thoughts about what happened. It's different for everybody. I'm a brutally honest person, and that might not be the best for everybody, but just let me know in the comments about if you agree with me, or if you don't. That's perfectly fine. I understand. I don't expect everybody to agree with me, but on with the rest of the video. Yeah, that was the support group I had. So when my novel was done, well, before it was done, I had a bunch of people telling me how excited they were, offering me their services to read it, to review it. So I was very excited. And you have to understand, this was one of the main reasons that pushed me and gave me the confidence to actually try this, because I thought, hey, I had enough of a support group that will help me, so I don't have to worry about like who's gonna read it, who's gonna help me, who's gonna offer advice. When the novel was finished, all these people practically disappeared, and I had to follow up with them, and I had to ask them again and reiterate. I spent about a lot of money, a lot of my savings on the first book. I got like 3 editors. So the 3 editors come from, because this novel was my first debut novel, I got a developmental editor, and then I got a copy editor. Something happened with that one. My novel, like, it took a back seat, so I need to get it re-edited, and then I got another editor to work on it. So it was a whole mess, and because I was a new author, I didn't know what I needed, and because of my support system, I wanted to be sure that my book was 100%, which um anyways, yeah, so I just wanted it to be perfect, which because I'm making this video, it was clearly not, or at least not to my standards. But anyways, on with the explanation. And then I asked a bunch of my family members and friends to beta read it after it was done. And you guessed it, they all said yes. I mean, the few that understood and could read English, they all said yes. And of course, no surprise, they all disappeared. Okay, so interjection again. Maybe I am a little bit annoyed at this. One of my pet peeves is if you give your word, stick to it or don't give your word at all. But, anyways, carry on. And I wanted to publish by a certain date. I needed to get it published by a certain day. And it would go weeks, months, and then almost a year, and I've never heard back from them even after I followed up. So I thought, three professional editors that I paid money for already went through this book, so it should be good enough. And I kind of went through it as well. I've proofread it multiple times, so it should be well enough to publish. I got the book cover, I set everything up, and I published it. Unfortunately, I it didn't do so well. It didn't do bad, but it wasn't really getting that much attention. I thought it was just because I'm a first timer and because all the family members that said that they were going to buy it or they were going to see it or read it disappeared. So I thought, well, I don't have a personal support group, so I'll just have to count on like the people, book lovers. And then lo and behold, the ones that offered the most support and help were strangers. I've got, besides my brother who lent me one review, and my mom wanted to review, but she doesn't read English, so it would kind of be a moot point. But one of the reviewers and a few of them talked about grammatical errors that the book had. And I was like, no, it can't be possible because this book went through thousands of dollars of editing work. It should not have errors. And I proofread it after the editors as well. What was the point of paying editors if it still had grammatical errors? I went through the book, I read it, and I realized that it does. It still did have grammatical errors. And I wanted to get my family to proofread it, but I kind of learned my lesson at this point. So I had to pull the book out because I'm a perfectionist. And this is not a hobby. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is something that I generally love to do, something that I generally want to do with the rest of my life. So I want to do it right and I want to do it perfect. So I don't want any of my books to be, this half-ass kind of like mistake. I want all my books to be amazing, and not for everybody, but at least, amazing enough that they have their fan base and people understand that. And even if you're not a fan, you won't ever say, hey, that book is badly written in the grammatical and spelling sense. You could say in the story and plots, but not in the story sense, in the grammatical sense. So I pulled it back because it wasn't up to my standards. It wasn't up to the standards that I want to put out there. And I went through to the only support group that kind of hasn't let me down, and that was strangers. So I went to forums and got beta readers to kind of help me out with that. And I started working with a beta reader to kind of read book 1. But at this point, book 2 was ready. I had proofread book 2. I have work with an editor that I'm actually very happy with and very proud of her work. So by the time book one was being beta read, book two was ready for publishing. And I was like, holy shit, what the hell am I going to do? Because I can't publish two books at once. I don't want to. I want to give each book a chance to have their own time in the spotlight. So before I keep on with the video, let's recap. Um, First of all, the first issue, I'm extremely introverted and I wanted my books and my stories to shine. I didn't want myself to shine. If you didn't get that by the fact that my face is still not on this video. Second issue, English is not my first language. If you haven't guessed that by the many words that I kind of butchered and the fact that I said book instead of book. Issue number two, because English wasn't my first language, I've always had issues with grammar. It's despite being like creatively a very good writer. Is creatively a word? Anyways, despite that, I'm not that great in the practical sense, so I always had grammar issues. Issue number, was it 3 or 4? Anyways, the other issue was I lacked support and beta readers, and this led to the other issue, which was the budget. I had a very limited budget that I was working with because I was working with my savings. I was working like at a temp agency, so I sometimes had jobs, sometimes I didn't, and I also had bills, so I was going with my savings. The other issue was I was out of my depths. I was a first time writer and I'm still a first time author. Like I'm still a first timer, so I'm still out of my depths. And I think another one is the major one is I'm not very charismatic. If you haven't guessed it by the many ums and many awkward pauses and many butchered words, I'm very awkward, especially when like attention is focused on me. That's not my thing. I get like really awkward, really like uncomfortable. Yes, don't ask me. I still want to write. Like I said, I don't necessarily want to be an author, but I want my stories to get out there and for people to read them, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't. It didn't make sense to me either. So yeah. So right now I have 2 books that are completely ready to be published. Well, not completely ready, but I have 2 books that can be published, and I need to give them each their time to be published. Has my family read these books besides my brother? Like I said, no, they've all either a good percentage of my family doesn't read English, and the ones that do, my friends and family, the ones that do read English are, like I said, busy. They have their own lives, they have their own problems, they have their own things going on. So I'm not gonna shade them for that. I just, it's just, it is what it is. So I have a beta reader who is amazing, but the thing is, this whole experience made me not trust my own work as much. So I'm working on other books and I'm constantly second guessing if they're ready, if they're good enough. And I know that's normal, but for me that's kind of hard because I've always had self-esteem issues, and I'm an overthinker. I'm extremely introverted, so I'm extremely in my head about everything. So one little thing can like spill everything over for me. Not necessarily saying that I can't doubt myself, but it's just I tried to have at least one win, and right now I feel like I have like 0 wins. And I'm proud of the story that I've written, which is the only reason why I'm still trying and I'm still going at it, because I actually genuinely love the story that I have written. But I'm doubting myself as an author. Holy shit, this video turned dark. Very, very dark. Let's try to lighten it up a little for the rest of this video now. So, to lighten it up, let's talk about the good stuff coming up. So, I'm currently working on the book cover. So, I'm going to get a new book cover for a new book cover done for book one, and then I'm just gonna get a book cover done for book two as well. I'll try to get them both done at the same time, but hopefully book one would be published either pre-summer, before summer, so like May, or during summer, so maybe like June or anything like that. And then book two should be published by like in the fall, like after the hopefully the hype for book one dies down, and then book two will be out right away. I'm excited about the book covers. So I did design the book cover for book one last time. I got the review that it might be too busy. I love it. I actually really enjoyed designing the books, and I feel like it goes well with the story. But like I said, if it's too busy, I feel like I'm giving the designers free reins and kind of letting them kind of like tone it out and see in their expert opinion what was best. I'll put a picture of the book cover, the first book cover that I designed up here, and then the final product as well, so you guys can see and let me know what you think. This is not gonna be the book cover for book one anymore, but if you guys like it, then maybe I'll do a like special edition, or maybe I'll use that as the book cover for like the bestiary, which new idea. That's actually a great idea. I didn't actually think about that, but this way the book cover doesn't go to waste. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the overall book cover, and then I'll give you a little bit information about the actual story, just because obviously you want to know about the story. After this whole video and seeing my winning personality, you obviously want to purchase the book now and read about it. So I'll let you know a little bit about the story, just because I know you're anxious for it. So the first book is called The Hero's Descent. The whole series is a historical fantasy series. It's based or inspired by medieval Europe, just because growing up in this side of the hemisphere, I kind of was fascinated by the idea of like monarchy and people being ruled by like one person, and one person having absolute power. I also like history a lot. I like every aspect of history, every stage of history. I find this so fascinating. So, and I love Europe. Europe was the first places that I was ever able to visit. So it's kind of like a tribute to my travels in a way. But it talks about a world that is in danger, and one of the celestial beings chooses warriors to kind of fight this battle for her. And those warriors, they are flawed, and they have a certain amount of darkness in them that kind of pushes them to away from their path. And I think it explores the idea that heroes are supposed to be these virtuous beings that are flawless, and always turn the other cheek when faced with adversity. And I don't see it that way, and I wanted to play with that as well. As for book two continues on with this, but it adds, more people and more drama and more chaos, because I would say the actual issue with the story and the actual like villains and the actual turmoil, it's actually a lot deeper and a lot darker than you would think in book one. So book two just makes it all more like chaotic and crazy in the best way possible, hopefully. If you haven't guessed, I'm very horrible at like elevator pitch or like selling my story, hence why I don't have an agent. I'm gonna go with that's the reason and no other reason at all. But yeah, so that's the book coming up. I think it's an interesting book, not because I'm the author, but I think because it kind of plays with the cliches and the tropes that we know, but it kind of gives them a few twists that I really, really like and I've really looked for in books that I couldn't find. I'm sure they're out there. I'm not trying to say that I'm like unique or anything like that, but yeah, if you like historical fiction, if you like fantasy, if you like love triangles, if you like books that are like open minded and that have a lot of stuff, just, a lot of stuff. Oh my fucking god. A lot of stuff. Um, there goes the awkwardness. God, I couldn't be like charming for like 5 minutes. 5 minutes. This recording, this session of the recording is not even like 5 fucking minutes long, and I couldn't like hold in the awkwardness. Anyways, it's a good book. I think it's a good book. If I'll post a video with more about the book, and I'll get better at selling the book and talking about it. And then in that video, I'll give you like spoilers and like little hints and little looks into and like art, my really crappy art and all that stuff. So if you're interested, it's gonna be a really good video. Hear me selling my video that I haven't even planned out yet, but it's gonna be really good, like, obviously. Anyways, I'm gonna end this video because I feel like it's getting crazy, not only crazy long for somebody who's just starting out and has no subscribers to actually read this, to actually see this video, but also it's just I'm tired of talking and hearing my own voice. So yeah, I'm gonna end the video there. That is why I had to pull my debut novel out of production and restart all over and try again. And I would say to the authors that might be going through this, don't feel bad about it. It's okay to kind of like start over. I think as humans, we always start over. We're always starting over constantly, whether you move to a new place, you get a new relationship, whatever the case. Like, we are always starting over. And I think the best about life is the opportunity to start over, to try something new. So don't be afraid. If you fail, get back up again and then start over. I think that's the best part of life, or about trying anything, is starting over. I think starting over gives you the chance to not go back in the past, but like make things better than they were and try harder and learn something new. So if anything from this long-winded video, what I want people to get is that it's okay to start over. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to like only have yourself as a support system, as long as you know that you might have another support system out there that it might not seem like the ideal support system or the obvious support system, but there's always somebody who bringing you support and willing to support you. If it's not your family and your friends, it's a stranger. No, I guess the lesson of this video is it's okay to start again. It's actually good sometimes to start again, and you always have a support system. It might not be the one you expect, but you always have a support system. And this time the visuals are me writing, and the drink that you see, that is ginger ale, for anybody that might think it's something else. So yeah, this was fun. No, actually, no, it wasn't. But I hope at least someone besides my mom, my brother, and myself see this video. And if you do, drop a like. You don't have to subscribe. I feel bad about asking you to subscribe about a channel that doesn't really know what it's going to be yet. But, drop a like, leave a comment. It doesn't take much effort to do that. You don't have to pay. You just have to click, like, and then leave a comment what you think, even if it's just making fun of my awkwardness. Or better yet, don't comment about making fun of my awkwardness. I already have issues with my self-esteem. I don't need you to give me more of a complex. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, and have a great day and have a great journey. And we'll see each other at the top, hopefully. Bye.